This bow tuning tip is brought to you by Double D Archery Products, maker of the Magnum Grip arrow puller. I know what you guys are thinking. Wow, Kenny, you're slipping. Your groups are terrible. Well, I wasn't group shooting, so they do look terrible. Set this down here. The reason that I came out here to shoot today was I wanted to show you guys a cool product that I've come across. Before we get started into that though, I wanted to tell you, everybody who knows me, who's ever been to my website, BowTuningTips.com, or ever watched my YouTube videos, understands that I'm not a review website. I don't do reviews for any product. I do tips. That's my main goal. But in this case, I made an exception because I found something really cool that I think is kind of a tip. It's going to really help you. And it's a product made by a company called Double D Archery. You can go to their website. There's a website address at the beginning of the show, and there'll be one at the end. But they make this really cool little arrow puller. It's like probably no other arrow puller you've ever seen before in your life. I mean, this thing is like a nutcracker on steroids. If you're out there and you're pulling arrows and 3D targets especially, some of these things on the 3D ranges that are outdoor, they leave them out all year long. They get hard as a brick, and it's like shooting it into a dead tree. It's really hard to pull your arrows out of by your hand, and that causes fatigue. You know, and one of the things that'll make your score to go down is when you're tired. So this cool little arrow puller here is available in camouflage too. This one is just your bare metal. He's also got it working in the works of having some anodized colors, some pinks and greens and different things. But anyway, what it is it'll actually grab your arrow shaft, and you can choose the amount of pressure by squeezing it, and allows you to pull the arrow out, and it doesn't slip. And it takes all that fatigue out of your hands of trying to crank. Not only that, for you guys out there who shoot indoor and shoot those really expensive aluminum carbon composite arrows, and you're grabbing them and torquing on them, man, you're going to ruin an arrow that cost you 20 bucks. You won't do that with the Double D Magnum Grip. That's what the name of this is. It's called the Magnum Grip. I say it's a vice grip, but you probably get sued by saying that. But the Magnum Grip will pull these out. What I've done is I've got 3 normal field tip arrows, and then I've actually got 1 field tip arrow that's got a field tip bigger than the arrow diameter. So you know what happens, the target will close around it, and it's going to be a pain in the butt to pull out. I'm not even going to attempt to pull these out with my bare hands. I'm going to use the puller. Okay, first thing you're going to do, I'm going to turn my release around so it doesn't get in my way. You want to take your arrow puller, put it around the arrow shaft in the slot where the tube's at. Then you're going to grab hold of it, and you want to give it a little squeeze on the longer side to give it the leverage. That's where I come into the vice grip. You know, it's a vice grip that doesn't bite. You're going to grab the shaft, and you're going to simply just give it a pull, and it'll pull out, just that simple. Now this target looks wore out. It is wore out, but it's been out here a really long time, and it's hard as a brick. I mean, there's no dead spots. You're never going to pass through this bare target. All right, let's do a couple close-ups of that. You know, I know they say there's a lot of arrow targets out there that's 2-finger arrow removal, and that's probably true. I don't have any of those kinds of targets. Mine, it takes a truck and a winch and all kinds of crazy stuff. These things are old. Once again, you're going to take the arrow puller, you're going to open it up, you're going to put it around the arrow shaft like so, gripping it. You'll see the arrow shaft will lay right in the track. You grip it there, you reach up here, you go ahead and put a little leverage right here. That's the nutcracker appeal that this thing has. It's just like a vice grip. It's kind of like a pair of channel locks. You grab hold of that puppy there, and you're going to give it a little pull. Just that simple. And that thing pulled it out. I mean, there's no slippage, and there's no crushing. I mean, you can literally put this thing on the arrow and squeeze it as hard as you can, and you're not going to damage your arrow shaft. You know, and you guys out there who are using those aluminum composite arrows, you know better than anybody, the price of these things are expensive. And you definitely don't want to damage and ruin a bunch of money. This is a great thing to use. Got one more here. This one in the middle is the one with the bigger tip. I'm saving it for last. Just that easy, you know? All right. And last but not least, this is the one with the big tip. We're going to get a really good close-up of this one. You simply lay the arrow in the bottom of Magnum Grip, drop the top on it. You're going to apply your pressure with the back of your hand, and then simply pull it out. Now that one was a little hard to pull because the tip. I used a bigger tip, so that way it was actually going to hang and you had a lot of resistance. And you guys out there who knows that you've ever had an arrow shot into a target that had the tip bigger than the daggone shaft, it's a pain in the butt to get out. You've seen how it does on arrows on 3D targets. I have a thought though. What happens if you stick it in something really hard, like say maybe a tree? I bet you that my son, wink wink, or somebody else that shoots on my range a lot, has stuck a few in these trees back here behind me. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of trees around here. We're going to go in here, look around, see if we can find a couple arrow shafts sticking in these trees, take the Magnum Grip, and see if we can't pull that puppy out of there. Oh yeah, here's one right here we can get out of here. Get a couple of these limbs out of the way so I don't poke myself in the eye. All right, now if you're going to try to pull one out of a tree, you're going to have to be sure of one thing, that when you do this, you don't get in the way of it like this and ram yourself. You always want to pull the arrow out to the side of you and make sure when you're doing it that no one's standing behind you. That's a good safety tip. All right, we're going to grab hold of it like we did before. I'm going to go ahead and grab a handle, put my foot against a tree, and I'm going to wobble it a little bit. I'm going to give it a little pull just to see if it's going to come out. And it'll kind of work its way loose. And it did. Pulled right out of there. Great. I lost my insert and my tip, but I got my shaft. Now, it pulled it out of that tree without even slipping. Sure, I did have to pull pretty hard, but I didn't hurt my hands. It didn't hurt my hands one bit. That is one bad little dude. Pulling the arrows out of the target were a cinch. Even the one in the cedar tree didn't give us too much trouble. That's pretty awesome. This Magnum Grip got a lot of things in its future. Great product, sturdily built aluminum, stainless steel pin in it. Man, indestructible. If you guys want to find out more information about Double D Archery Products and the Magnum Grip, be sure to check out their website at ddarchery.com or go to BowTuningTips.com's partners page and link to it from there. Thanks, and stay tuned. I'll see you next time.